What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Processed, and we are starting this show later than normal because I hit the damn snooze button about 7 times. You know when you're laying there and the phone's in your hand and you just have it on, your hand is just holding that button to hit the snooze, so as soon as it goes, ding-ding, boop, hit it, ding-ding, boop, hit it, and I'm just not getting up, so shame on me.
Oh, you good, bro. You good. I mean, I was late earlier this week. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there's been some other times you bear with me. So we good. We good. As long as we can shoot the shit about basketball, I don't care. Never
Yeah.
switch the subjects up, we got a problem. But right now, we good.
All right. I got a little nervous, not going to lie. As soon as I saw the time, I did one of those reactionary pull the covers off, and I just looked. I didn't even know what to do. I'm like, what am I? Oh, yeah, that's right. I had to, run down to the basement. Actually, I had to make my coffee first, of course.
Got to.
Lots of news with the 76ers right now. You got Brett Brown comments about Ben Simmons and his injury. You also have it's the same writer, believe it or not, but a Sports Illustrated writer, Chris Mannix, say he thinks they actually have a good chance of making some noise because of all this happening. And to top it all off, Joel Embiid needs a car. Did you see his tweets?
Yes,
now,
I did not realize he didn't have a license.
Honda Civic, Honda Accord. What type of car is this guy fitting into, first off?
I'm hoping he pulled up in the pickup. I'm part of the pickup game. I'm not like the Jeep cult where every time I see somebody I honk, but I see a pickup and I'm like,
you give him that fist.
Go.
Yeah, you give him that fist. See,
yes.
When you said pickup, instantly, and this is bad that I think this way because you're probably thinking, nice pickup. I actually saw your Snapchat the other day. You were cleaning that bad boy, weren't you?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
that's a nice, crisp, nice pickup. I was thinking Friday Night Lights, the TV show, if you've seen that, beat up red pickup where you gotta maybe start it 8 or 9 times and you hear the engine going and you can't turn it on. That's what I was thinking, Joel Embiid, and pulling up to the Wells Fargo Center, black smoke just firing off the back.
I would not be surprised. With him, I would not be surprised at all. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Now, if he's at a red light in Center City, windows down in this pickup, what do you think he's listening to? You think he's got some Luke Bryan on with his elbow out the window, just giving a head nod to the guy next to him as if, oh, yeah, that's not Joel Embiid or anything?
Some Daryl Oates. I can see several things. I see Sade. I can see him listening. I mean, obviously, if you got that pickup, he's only listening to the radio. He ain't got no aux cord in that. But I can see him listening to several things. Whatever this is, it's going to be a spectacle. Whatever we're about to see, this car hunt that he's about to go on is going to be a spectacle. I hope somebody has the camera rolling while he's looking for it because this is about to be hilarious.
The more I think about it, I think Justin Timberlake is a good mix of what he's probably tuning into. I just see him as a JT guy.
Cry me a river. Okay, I like that.
I told you the other day I was jamming so damn hard. It was one of those moments where I think to myself, whew, thank God nobody is near me. Thank God nobody can see me. I see Joel going on some long road trips, just going to town. I'm thinking maybe if he does get some sort of smaller car, he might have to have his head out the top, and he's still driving. I mean, his head might be literally out the window up top. He's 7'2".
He is a convertible pickup. I mean, if they figured it out for Shaq, they could figure it out for him. He gonna be all right. Or they get him with a damn Buick. Yo, I'm sorry. I used to watch those commercials this is a hell of a sales pitch. Because I'm not going to lie. If I seen Shaq get in the car in person, I'd be like, that's the one. I gotta take function over fashion. That's the one.
Yeah, that Buick just sucked you in, huh? I think that's what's next. Yeah, that's next for Embiid. He's going to have a GMC or something, something... I don't know. I'm just spitballing here off the top of my head. But it's going to be your standard father and mother car as a family of 4. Dude, you know Jimmy Butler has a big role in his life, friendship-wise. Maybe we go minivan.
Oh, my God.
Minivan and country.
No, the Kendrick Lamar minivan, I can't see.
What's wrong with that?
He pulls up the Wells Fargo, the door slides open, he hops out. It's like smoke comes out before him. No.
The Undertaker now? It's a WWE scene.
Is that Wells Fargo? Whatnot? I can see that. I 100% see. Like I said, I just really hope the cameras are rolling because it's gonna be a spectacle.
Oh, no doubt. It could be. This is my last thing on it because we're getting ridiculous. But I could see it actually being part of. When they announce him and it's Joel Embiid. Instead of him coming out with the flames going and everything, he pulls up with the minivan. Now the minivan's at like half court. He gets out.
He rings the bell from the window.
Yeah. He drives by it and hits it. Ding. Ding. He's off cue though because you got to do it as the floor breaks, but he's too late because he can't turn the wheel enough because he's too big. All right, basketball.
Yes, sir.
You want to do basketball?
A little bit.
Right.
I was having fun with that.
No, me too. But I think we got a little carried away there with him driving a minivan onto the court for the ringing of the bell ceremony. Don't you think that's a little bit too much?
I would say to the Triple H theme song. I'm so like this shit sounds like an episode or something. I would love to see this. But all right, basketball.
I don't think we're too far off. I mean, we are talking about Joel Embiid, so let's not act as if this is that crazy, right? I mean, if we were talking about Furkan Korkmaz doing this, it would be a different discussion.
Yeah.
What do you think Furkan drives?
Something sleek. I'm not gonna lie. He has the European in him.
He does have that European style.
Yeah, I peg him as like a he pulls up in the AMG right outside. TT.
Ooh, I like how you did that. Now we're talking. I can see that too. Unbelievable. That's a good.
Time flies with Furkan.
That's a good pull by you. All right, before we do the Sixers stuff, the NBA returned and starting to, it seems like it's hitting some bumps and bruises along the way. Like, there's this conversation about some Orlando workers from the airport. 500 of them got tested, and about 250 of them have coronavirus. So how are you going to get players to Orlando to play at Walt Disney World? I mean, there seems to be a lot of bumps and bruises. We mentioned the Kyrie Irving stuff before, and it seems like they're going to get over that hump by agreeing to use this platform to make an even bigger statement. So that is good news as well. But there just seems to be a lot of bumps and bruises. But the details involved in how they're going to do this and bring this back. I mean, it's sort of like a camp when you were younger and you go to the camp. You got ping pong over here, movies at 8 o'clock if you want to go watch the movies. You got video games, you got a deck of cards, but you got to throw away the deck of cards after each hand or something because you got to bring in the new ones. I mean, it's just so detailed. They're stressing to everyone how important the health part of it is.
I like that, though. I like that. I'd rather that than them be too passive. You know what I mean? I like that every precaution's being taken. I like that the deck of card things is a bit excessive.
I don't know if it's after every hand, but they do know they have to refresh the deck of cards pretty frequently.
Yeah, like stuff like that is a bit excessive, but these excessive times, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of it's just placebo. You know what I mean? Just feeling safe. Just you don't want people worrying. You know, they already at camp. Like, I could see this sounds like an old AAU tournament. I'm sorry, like the way they're putting this together, like it sounds rough. You know what I mean? But with everybody being down there, I feel like a lot of it is just we need people to feel safe. That's half the battle. You know what I mean? So
you mentioned the AAU vibe. I do think it's pretty funny that you're going to have games being played, and then the opponents are going to be watching. I'm picturing a team in their jumpsuits. Like, if you're in the second round and you've already advanced and you're watching the two teams that you might see in the next round, and you're watching, like, the Bucks are in their full get-up, and they're going to have their masks on, and they're just watching as if they're scouting you to see who they're going to play in the next round. I'm sure you had plenty of moments like that back in the day, waiting for which team you're going to play at 5 o'clock, and if they lose, they play at 3 o'clock on court 2. That's what it's going to be like. You can watch your opponents going at it right before you.
No, absolutely. It's like a high school game, like the JV team, and it's watching the varsity team. Like, this shit's gonna be comedy. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just imagining the Snap stories and the Instagram stories that come from this. Like, if somebody messes up to see, I'm waiting for the one NBA player who's gonna like have their camera out and be commentating the game in real time about little things going on, if they allow it, which I'm pretty sure they will because they're technically fans. But like, I think this whole thing is weird already. Like, let's be honest. You heard Disney World. I don't think anybody questioned like how odd that is. Like, Disney World of all places. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's gonna be comedy. I feel like it's gonna be great. So they might as well just go all out with it. It's just I love the AAU comparison though of the all right, listen. We in pool 2, they in pool 3. The championship's at 8 p.m. on Sunday. We got to win this game and that game. And I would say if they break out the Snickers and hot dogs for for lunches tonight, I'm like, all right, this is just too much, but it's gonna be good, man.
Yeah, and I wonder if, imagine playing a game knowing that LeBron and AD are watching. Ben Simmons, he looks up to LeBron. They're good friends and all that. So I just wonder, will that make people feel a little bit juiced up? Like if you were playing a game, it's a little different because if you're playing a game at Villanova and there's thousands of fans in the stands and you know 3 of your friends are there, it's not the same as being in an empty gym with 3 of your friends there. You know, it's a totally different vibe. But I just wonder if knowing your peers are watching, if you know LeBron is watching and you're Ben Simmons, does that give you extra motivation because you want to show your buddy, yo, I'm about to ball and you're going to watch me?
Hell yeah. It kind of like I think it's gonna add something to the interactions in the game too. You know what I mean? Like somebody gets a dunk and stares down somebody in the crowd. Or something like that. Yeah,
you could see a two-handed slam by Ben and then a mean stare down at Bron over there.
Yeah. Like imagine James Harden hits a 3 and whoever he's playing next is in the crowd, or like Russ, flies down the lane and just bangs on somebody and it's like yells at somebody, you next. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like this whole thing is like, do it and go all out with it. Like it's gonna be not just comedy, but it's gonna be great television all the way through.
Now I'm kind of getting a little bit excited, I'm not going to lie. But we do have bad news, which will bring my excitement down, because yesterday I fired off in my own little personal YouTube video because when I saw these quotes from Brett Brown, I was not happy, D-Ray. I was not happy at all. And if you remember, when Elton Brand spoke about a couple months ago, he said that we are optimistic that Ben Simmons will be ready to go. And I looked at that word optimistic, and that fired me up. That got me pissed off, and I said I wanted him to confirm he will play. And you actually said, Brodes, calm down. He had to say optimistic because he can't really just throw it out there to confirm he will absolutely, definitely play. He's just kind of, saying, look, he'll play. No! That wasn't the case because here's Brett Brown, and let me read you this quote, D-Ray. Let me read it to you.
Let's hear it.
My opinion, and this is not confirmed yet. I have that highlighted, by the way. This is not confirmed yet. In pink highlighter, we will go back. Is that we are going to be able to inch him back into this, Brown said. Is he going to be 100%? I don't expect that. But I think he is going to be available. Let me get out my little spiel first, and then I'll give you the floor. If the quote was just, is he going to be 100%? I don't expect that. I would look at it as, all right, that makes a lot of sense. The dude just had a back injury. He'll probably never be 100% again. But there's more to it. I think he's going to be available. Whoa, I mean, are you kidding me? And this is not confirmed yet. So he's saying, my opinion is that we are going to inch him back into this. That statement is not confirmed yet. So is it possible that if it's not confirmed yet, there might be no inching back at all and he won't be able to play at all? Or does that mean he might play fully and there's no inching back? He's just going to get thrown into the mix and play the 40 minutes a night. Because I look at that and say, well, if it's not confirmed, that means there's a possibility that he's not going to kind of get placed back in 20 minutes here, 15 minutes here. He might flat out just not be available to play at all.
I don't think that, bro. I don't think that at all.
We are talking the 76ers. The 76ers.
And that is why I think this is just damage control. I think they're like, listen, if we say he's going to be 100% and he goes out there and he's not really feeling it, or we get to training camp and something happens, that's our ass. That is our ass. Like, as an organization, we can't justify that. If he gets through training camp and gets to the season and we can't necessarily use him like we need to because he's a little rusty and we got to sit him down, that is also our ass, because they're going to say, you know what? Here comes the bullshit again. I'm getting Markel fever. This looks just like it did when the injury with him happened. So I feel like with them, like I said, with Elton Brand, I'm sticking by that, bro. I'm sticking by that. I feel like a huge part of this is, listen, I'd rather underpromise over deliver than say he's gonna be ready and something goes wrong.
I
I
think
feel
of
like
it
that's
like
what it
this, though.
is.
Yeah, but if he's this hurt, I mean, if you're telling me now, this happened when? March, early March? I mean, if we are
Yeah.
still having a discussion about him not being able to play in September basketball, October basketball, we are in some big trouble. I think this is an injury that is way more of an issue than it was perceived, and
I
it's
don't see
their
that.
fault that it was perceived this way.
I don't see that, bro. I don't see it. I just don't. I don't. I genuinely don't see it. I feel like we talked about those workout pictures. Like I said, some of those workouts you can't do. Some of those movements, if you had a serious back injury, you couldn't do. I think it's a matter of how much he can do right now, but we still got X amount of time until training camp. What is it? Like damn near 6 weeks at this point until the season starts. You know what I mean? Like we have time to get him back to a point of like actually playing, actually being effective. Not to mention the 8 regular season games. They might not want to use, him for that. So you inch him back in through that, but we locked in for the playoffs. So I think this is just damage control. Like I said, I think they learned through the Markel, thing and through several other injuries. Shit, Joel Embiid, let's call it what it is. Like how many times they said this and the foot's gonna be fine or he's gonna be good for this. And I think but then they've gotten to a point as an organization. Like, listen, under promise, over deliver. You know what I mean? Because you can't go back on it once you say, oh, hell yeah, Ben Simmons is going to be in the lineup right away. And then something happens and it's like, because like we talked about it, you lose trust in them. As fans, it's like, all right, I can't believe shit they say. You know what I mean? And they already kind of there with the whole he was throwing up story coming out. So I think it's damage control. Maybe that's the optimist in me, but
yeah, it seems like you're taking that approach. I'm more upset with the messaging. It really, when I think about it more and more, it's less about the actual injury because injuries are going to happen in sports, but it is about the messaging because, as I stated, Elton Brand said he's optimistic, and I would say that that's different than what I kind of got out of Brett Brown. And then there was that report by Jackie McMullen, who was a very respected reporter in the NBA, and he's fine. He'll be good to go. He has no pain. He'll be ready to play, and it's where are we? How is that possible where the GM says I'm optimistic, Jackie McMullen saying that things are fine and there's no pain and he's ready to rock and roll, and then the head coach speaks and now it's, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to be able to play. It's all over the place right now.
Yeah, man. It's rough. It's rough. But like I said, maybe it's the optimist in me. Maybe it's just trauma from last time. But I really hope that the case here is Ben Simmons is good. They know he's good, but not 100%. So why say he's 100%? Why say anything you don't have to? You know what I mean? And as far as inching him in goes, I like that. You know what I mean? It's if they use him a little bit for those 8 regular season games and kind of get him readjusted, and then when the playoffs start, he's 100%. He's ready to go. Why not? It's a win-win.
See, I don't think it'll be that way, though. If he's not ready to play in the 8 games, or if he's playing 15, 20 minutes a night in those 8 games, I can't imagine the playoffs come around and here's 40 minutes of Ben Simmons. I just don't think that's how it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a jump, but I think it's definitely going to be, all right, let's put him, let's give him, 10 minutes. Let's give him 15. All right, 25. All right, this is probably the hardest opponent we're going to play. Let's let him play for a good half. And then the playoffs coming, it's like, no, you have to perform. But I also have faith in the added pressure too. Let's be honest, this shit isn't all on the Sixers organization. Ben Simmons has to show up for these playoffs too. We know what happened last year. You know what I mean? And all the criticizing him only having 5 points in the game, or him only doing X, Y, and Z in the game, him only taking so many shots. So he has a lot to prove this playoffs too. So the pressure isn't all on Brett Brown organization. A lot of the pressure is on him to be like, no, your ass got to be back. Because if you don't come back and this moment is wasted, which pretty much the moment I'm talking about is the Sixers having a chance to reset. Joel Embiid, if he does come back on his word, working out 6 times, he comes back in shape. And you got all these things kind of working together, and then you're the only guy out because you didn't take that extra step. I don't strike him as the type of guy to just sit with that for the rest of the offseason.
No, I don't think that he's going to milk the injury, if you will. And what I mean by that is, he's not going to sit out because of a little bit of pain or whatnot. He's going to push through this as much as possible because that's the type of competitor that Ben Simmons is. I look at all of this and I think to myself, okay, This is the Philadelphia 76ers we were talking about. I get your mindset. I get where you're coming from. Like, hey, maybe it's not as bad. They're just trying to undersell some things and whatnot. But I always think back to, okay, let's look at the track record of this organization. You might be right in this one scenario, but more times than not, it's been what I'm saying. So you might be right with the Ben Simmons stuff, but you look through all this injury history and all the communication problems that they have had over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and I'm just going to play the percentages and say something is up right now with Ben Simmons based off of the mixed messaging because they can't properly get this right. And when they can't get it right, that means something behind the scenes is going on. And I don't know what it is, but I'm upset about it because I don't know where they stand, and we should understand where they stand by now, and this happens too much.
No, man, you're right. You're right. I mean, I said it too. I back you on that. Based on the past, hell yeah. But look around, man. Shit's changing. You know what I mean? I'm hoping this is a new day for the 76ers, but I definitely see what you're saying about being upset about that because it's not, like you said, their track record. Like they do not do well with this. But I have faith that that's why they're going to deal with this one differently. They have to.
I hope so. I really do hope so. And you mentioned when we were talking about the gym and the pictures in the gym, it doesn't relate. If he's beefing up that much, if he's lifting those type of weights, how much back pain can he possibly be in? I mean, you can't lift those weights, do those workouts, and then have this severe back injury at the same time.
You just can't. It doesn't work like that. It's like I'm trying to think of a comparison, but it's like somebody having something tore up in their knee and doing jumps. Like it doesn't, a back injury, because it's the middle of your body. It's so many things. You know this, well, anybody who played a sport knows like the back is no joke, especially your lower back, because it's connected so many things throughout that part. It's like, if that's messed up, you're not doing a lot of things. So I don't see it.
I know. I'm with you. There were some other quotes, though, that were thrown around before we get to the why they have a good chance of winning. Brett Brown was talking about conditioning, and I want to read you here. Conditioning is the key to success in a resumed season. A fitness base is everything. Brown would like his team to be at a B+ by the time they leave for Orlando and work their way up from there. I think that's fine. Mentally, there are different challenges. A real fear is the question of if guys want to be there. None of us can dismiss that. It's human nature. Coming out of a pandemic, to assume everyone will be gung-ho about going would be very naive. Now, the way I see this is, I think that there are players that are probably like, oh, man, I got to go there. But it's not the players or the teams that are in the, hey, we can make a little bit of a run conversation. Maybe the Orlando Magic, maybe the Wizards, maybe the teams on the West Coast, the Pelicans, and who else is in that 8th seed? The Memphis Grizzlies. Maybe some guys on those teams. But I can't imagine anyone on the Lakers, Sixers, Celtics, or Bucks, Toronto, Clippers. I can't imagine any of those guys going, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like having a chance to compete for an NBA title.
Hell no. Like we said last show, if you got a chance to win, if you're in a position to win, I mean, shit, you heard about players who barely had it. Damian Lillard, he's advocating for give us a chance to even play in. If you're a true competitor and you put in X amount of work up until this point, you're not saying, let's chalk it. You're not saying, let's not do this, let's not do that. You're saying, no, if I have a chance, I'm taking it. And to go back to Kyrie Irving, that's part of the reason why everybody got a problem with his ass. You know what I mean? Because like, bro, you're not playing. Like, it's easy for you to advocate for sitting down. You're not playing. But I'm very interested to see how this plays out, because something tells me very soon a big name player, rather it comes from somebody's source or because that shit to me, it's when you read these words, it's like per source, such and such said this. According, it's like, man, get the hell out of here. You made this shit up. You know what I mean? Like, get the hell out of here. Like this guy.
You don't trust people's sources. What if Woj throws out per source? You believe him?
Yeah, like Woj has a good enough track record, but it's like the thing I sent you on Twitter yesterday with when Theo Pinson quoted the one dude was like, "Stop, this isn't happening." You know what I mean? Like you can say anything if you say per source at the end of it, because you're technically saying, "I didn't say it." You know what I mean? Like I didn't say that. The guy over there, who I'm not gonna name, said it. He whispered. I was in a bar and I overheard. Like, get the fuck out of here. But like I got a feeling in the upcoming weeks there's gonna be a bigger name player who comes out and says they're not for it. Or rather, they come out and say it, or somebody else says they say it. But watch the next couple of weeks is going to be like a Donovan Mitchell or somebody like that has expressed concern. Well, it's going to be written like has expressed concerns about the pandemic outbreak in Florida.
Per source.
Per source. And then it's going to turn into a whole snowball effect of how they don't want to go at all. But it's going to be drama until we get to Disney World, period.
Yeah, there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, but I do think that they will find a way to get this done. You mentioned the whole per source thing. That's kind of funny because there was a story going around over the last week about Kyrie and him wanting to make his own league or something, and it came out that it was false. I love the reaction to it because it's him. Because it's Kyrie Irving. I can't even process the way that he is viewed now. I mean, it has just completely changed. And the story did come out that it was completely fake. But the fact that someone ran with that and it's so believable because it's Kyrie Irving, it's almost as if, what? You're going to create your own NBA league? Like, what are you thinking about? But that only works because it's someone like Kyrie Irving who is an absolute nutcase.
Bro, I say we coin this shit right now. It's kind of like, I'm going to call it what it is. It's the Jimmy Butler effect. It's what we're talking about with the Sixers. It's what we're talking about with Kyrie. Somebody looks at the past events and what happened in the past, and they immediately say, this is just another episode of that. With Jimmy Butler, oh, things are going on in the Sixers locker room. Same thing that happened in Minnesota. Same thing happened in Chicago. It's like, not really. Kyrie Irving wants to start his own league. This is the same guy who said the earth was flat. We got to run with it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just such bullshit. I said, like, with you my guy, I get it. That's
Nah, you can rip me. That's part of this.
No,
I get ripped all the time.
No, because you're talking about a genuine concern and a like true pattern. But with them, it's just like it had to be. The only way that story got traction is because they said Kyrie said it. And it's just, this is my own shtick with bullshit journalism. I consider us two stand-up guys. I consider us guys who stand by the motherfucking truth through and through. We are the motherfucking truth through and through. But I can't stand these motherfuckers out here that just make up shit and put per source at the end of the tweet and then just run with the story. Like, make our own league. What the fuck? Make our own league? Like,
look, we don't know. Maybe there was a little bit of him that wanted to do it, and then once he saw the backlash, he was, I didn't say that. Yeah. I didn't say that at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie did come out with a statement like that and then had to backtrack because of the public opinion on it.
Hold on, real quick. This is what it says. This is what the joint. I was looking for the one I sent you. So the guy wrote, for NBA players, canceling the season could devastate the salary structure for now and the future. So there's some truth in that. Kyrie said what he said about, listen, at the end of the day, we hold the power with the dollar. You know what I mean? That's where our true power is. So if we don't play, that's the message we're sending. That then turns into, in a recent chat group with Nets players, Kyrie Irving lobbied for skipping the bubble. The Daily News has learned. Where'd you learn it from? Where the fuck did you learn it from? They learned it. In that chat, he also proposed that the players can start their own league, according to a source. So it's like you say this shit, and all you got to say is has learned, acquired information per source, and all of a sudden it's true. Theo Pinson, his teammate, a guy who's in that group chat, immediately quotes this shit. This is fake news. Just stop. Like, it's disgusting. I'm sorry. This shit, it makes our job so much harder.
No doubt. Because with social media, you can pretty much do anything. And then there's all those respected journalists with all those respected sources who they do have to put per source because they can't just throw out actual people out there. And then these type of scenarios is what makes that, you just view it in a weird way at times. But that's when you know who you can trust, and you got to learn based off of listening to specific people on who has the right information majority of the time compared to that.
Exactly. That's why you should trust the process pod.
Ooh, how about that? All right. I like that.
I don't know if we can still coin that, though. We might get sued for that one.
You think?
I hope not.
All right. I want to get back to the situation I said of people not wanting to be there. Brett Brown said that it would be naive to think everyone would be there. If there was one player on the Sixers roster that wouldn't want to continue to play right now, who do you think it would be? Because it wouldn't be Norvel Pell, because I think he's excited to have some NBA experience in the play. Would it be Mike Scott because he's annoyed with how it went down? Maybe, I got to go one. Glenn Robinson III, because that son of a bitch doesn't know his role still. So maybe I lean Glenn Robinson the third.
I love how son of a bitch was one word. Sure, son of a bitch. I can see Mike Scott being annoyed. Like I see, there's so many scenarios, especially for how they're about to deal with them down there. I can see a lot of guys being like, I am not for it.
What do you think it's any starter? I don't think it's any starter. I don't think it's Al Horford because I think he wants an opportunity to prove that he could play. And to be clear, this is a hypothetical just to see who would, if you had to choose one, who do you think it would be? It's not as if this is the person, as if there's one guy and we're trying to figure it out. This is a hypothetical. But I don't see it being any starter. I don't think it's Al Horford. It's got to be a bench guy. Maybe someone who doesn't have a lot of emotional tie to this team. It would be Alec Burks or Glenn Robinson III.
I got more faith in Alec Burks for some reason. Something about him he seems solid. And then no disrespect to Glenn Robinson. I don't know the motherfucker, but if I had to choose anybody, it'd be him. Because his comments earlier. Is that where you're leaning?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's not Furkan. He's putting up videos a couple months ago with that game-winning shot in Portland saying he misses it. And he's putting up pictures all the time. So it's definitely not him. And he's another guy, kind of like the Norvell Pell, where he has an opportunity here to keep his name going in some NBA experience. So he's going to want to utilize as much time as humanly possible. But I just thought that was interesting that Brett spoke about some guys are not gung-ho about it around the league, and you question yourself, question your own team as well. So, all right, we're going to go with Glenn Robinson III as the answer. We'll see how it all plays out.
I said we're going to see.
We are going to see.
I think I agree with you, though. I don't think it's anybody with with both feet in. It's somebody with 1 foot out. It's somebody that's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Could it be Kyle O'Quinn? Like, dude, I'm not playing anyway. I'm older. But he's too much of a veteran. I think he's too mature for that.
Exactly.
He's
like
too professional.
I like to think that too. I actually got a story for you. I almost said this shit on air, but when we get off, I got
we're saving it.
Yeah.
Per sources?
Huh?
Per source?
Source being my eyes.
Yeah. Okay, all right. All right. Yeah. Just verifying. That's all. All right, well, Chris Mannix also stated that he thinks the 76ers could kind of benefit from everything that's going on, and he thinks that maybe they could be a dark horse to make some noise. And the reasoning, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't buy the reasoning, but this is the reasoning he went with. Because it'll be sloppy, because it'll be a style of basketball that's so unique and weird and no fans and having to put a stoppage on the season, he thinks that the three ball won't be as effective as it once was. And he thinks the shooting will be a little poor. And because of that, the 76ers can take advantage of bully ball. And I just think that that's sort of so stretched, in my opinion. Look, these guys, if you're a three-point shooter, you're a three-point shooter, and you're going to have training camp, and you probably have been shooting throughout quarantine, and when you get in the gym, you're going to shoot your threes. Will there be some rust? Yeah, maybe, but you're going to shoot yourself out of that rust. I don't see the three-point game just being eliminated all of a sudden because of a couple months of quarantine. So I don't personally buy his mindset that that's why the Sixers are going to be able to make some noise because of people missing threes for time off.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I disagree with you because what he also said in that article, and I was so happy he alluded to this, was he was like more defensive-minded teams should show up in the playoffs. So I agree with you what you said about the threes. At the end of the day, people who shoot three, like Chris Middleton, ain't about to just shoot 15%, because of quarantine. You know what I mean?
15, like such a huge drop. He shoots 6% from three.
Exactly what I'm saying. But that's how the guy made it sound. But in the sense of this team being a defensive team, I agree with him. And in the playoffs, I think you need more of that. I think it's very interesting because we kind of skipped the line, and now we're going to see if what we thought about Elton Brand was true in the sense of he built this team. He kept talking about it. This team is built for the playoffs. This team is built for the postseason. It's almost like they took the idea of Kawhi Leonard and applied it to a team. I don't give a shit about the regular season. I don't give a shit, but I need to stay a contender in the regular season. But this thing is really built for going the distance. And now we've skipped the line on the season, and we're about to see that. But I have faith more in that than the fact that they're going to just go out there and go against a team that lays eggs against threes. Not to mention, we got the length to defend those threes. So it's a difference. Obviously, pros is pros. But it's a difference when you got wide open threes versus shooting over Joel, shooting over Ben, shooting over Tobias, shooting over Josh Richardson. Like, those threes, you got to work a little harder for him. I think that's what he was getting at.
I'm not disregarding or discrediting the defensive part of things because you know me, I think of that before I think of anything else. But I will say that happens in the playoffs anyway. Like, I don't know how that changes now compared to what it was before. Defensive teams are going to be a little bit different in the postseason. And because of the style of play in basketball, in the playoffs, you might get less threes naturally anyway in the postseason because there's less possessions per game and it's not so much up and down. So I just think his reasonings, I don't buy the three-point shooting thing because guys are going to get back into rhythm and be fine. But with the defensive part of it, what changed? I don't know what changed because this was the defense I think you were going to get before quarantine, and you're going to get the same defense after quarantine, and I don't think the shooting is enough of a difference either. I don't buy it. Maybe I am just in such a negative mindset because of everything today with the Ben Simmons comments first and the back injury, and now I'm just triggered to think negatively on the Sixers right now. I even, believe it or not, I'm sure this is actually easy to believe, but when Joel Embiid was talking about I've been working out for 6 days a week. Good for you. I looked at that as a negative that he's talking about it again. I mean, I'm in negative mode with the Sixers.
Nah, bro, you want to see it. You're in put up a shut up mode. I get that. I back that. Like I said, I ain't about to call you crazy for that. I understand that completely. I think what this guy is getting at is that, like I said, it skips a lot. Like, the regular season, let's be honest, for the Sixers this year, he started off the article by saying they were some of the biggest underachievers. So it kind of like, all right, for what they were trying to get to, for what they were built best for, it's like someone who they always play their best in the third quarter. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we got to deal with that first and that second one. But the third quarter, he's always going to show up. Like, that's what he's describing. Like, it's not that anything has changed drastically. It's just that, all right, you know what? They hit the reset button. They got a chance to kind of skip the shit that they were bad at. And now that we're in the postseason, their attributes are going to shine that much better because of the way this team is constructed.
Now, you said you're not going to call me crazy for the Joel Embiid situation and me getting pissed off. You're not going to call me crazy for that. What are you going to call me crazy for? Is there something that you call me crazy for? Is it the caffeine addiction? Caffeine and coffee. That's where I'm at right now, if you couldn't tell, by the way. A little combination of both. Is it the fact that I wore an OKC hat last week? By the way, did I get destroyed for that?
I was just about to say, I'll call you crazy for the same reason the people in the comments call you crazy. Wearing that goddamn OKC. It's like, that's how you know.
It's a nice hat.
It's a nice item. It's a nice hat. I ain't giving you shit. But when I tell you, I was looking down the comments crying like, Jesus Christ. They ready to fucking march on his house with like pitchforks.
Dude, they went into my next video, which had nothing to even do with it, and said, we're not watching until you tell us. It's a hat. I have so many hats that are not Philadelphia sports related, and I don't wear them on camera because of this. But you know what's a nice hat? It's a nice hat. I don't understand why it's such a big deal.
I was like, they ready to burn this motherfucker at the stake for a hat. But I love it. I love it. It's passion.
It is. Passion. I almost refreshed my YouTube page to see 6 subscribers. I mean, I could have lost them all. Jeez.
I'm going to have to give you my, next time you get on there and talk about the Flyers, I'm going to have to give you my Toronto jersey.
We can do that. Now, how do you feel about the whole Mike Scott hockey jersey situation? Do you like that?
Man, to me, when it comes to other sports, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I think everybody's offended because it's the OKC. It's like, listen, we gotta, you know what I mean? This is the team that we gotta see in the regular season.
It's not a Celtics hat. It's not a Raptors hat. It's the Thunder. They stink.
Exactly. It's a nice hat. But cross sports, I don't give a shit. Like I said, I got a Blackhawks jersey. I got a Toronto jersey. Maple Leafs jersey. They're great jerseys. I don't give a shit about anything else. I'm sorry. They're great jerseys. That's why I got them. But I was crying. I was like, yo, he's getting murdered. Like, why? Like, it's like you said, it's a hat. Relax. But I get it. I know where your heart's
Now,
at.
I love how many jerseys you have, by the way, hockey jerseys. So I assume you enjoy the Mike Scott pregame hockey jerseys that he rocks?
Yeah, man,
I do think
hockey has the best jerseys.
I love that.
I don't get y'all credit.
I do think that some of the last names on the back, a little corny. He likes to be different and throw some different last names on that. I would just have number 1 and Scott on all of them if I was him. But he does have a nice collection.
Hockey, y'all have the best. I'm sick. Y'all don't get y'all credit, but like y'all have the best jerseys. At the end of the day, NFL jerseys look like V-necks with long sleeves. Not a fan. I'm sorry. Like not to wear. You know what I mean? I like it to hang up, but not to wear. Basketball jerseys, like, oh, look at this guy trying to show off his arms. But like the hockey jerseys, the way that the pads are supposed to fit like halfway up the forearm and shit. So if you got to watch an accessory, you could still show that off. But like the strings and it's like the hockey jerseys to me, I was like, I saw it and I was like, this shit is everything.
Let's
like,
go. I love it. I love it.
The hockey has the best jerseys.
No, I love that. The only problem is you mentioned the tank tops and whatnot, and you can rock those at a darty. You know, I'm thinking right now in my head, I am picturing the
White Claw.
I love that you brought that up. I was thinking the standard frat party salmon shorts coming up high with Sperry's, White Claws, and then all those kids are rocking Kobe jerseys or Durant jerseys, right? You can rock that, though, at a darty. You can't rock the hockey J at a darty. It's too heavy. It's too thick. That's where it limits itself.
It does. It does. It's more of a fall look, but that's when you find out if people could really dress in that. You know what I mean?
That's true. That is very true.
You get me.
Yeah.
You get me. That's when you find out people could really dress in that. What your fall they look like. What your fall and spring they look like.
That's interesting. See, I'll be honest with you. I cared more before than I do now. So I lost a little bit of the care for the full-on swag, if you will. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I walk out of the house when it's time to get ready and look like an absolute bum. But there was a time where I cared way more than I do now. Maybe because, like, I have bills to pay, and that means I can't buy the nicer clothes. And it's like, damn it. All right. Looks like we're going thrift shopping. No. Hey, you can find snags at thrift stores, by the way. I'm not chirping.
Facts. It's function over fashion at this point, and I respect that. I respect that.
Absolutely. Now, I was going to say something, and I forgot, which is bad to do when you're recording a podcast. So
we just got into fashion.
Yes, we did. We are going to transition. Hold on, it was about clothes. Oh, I know what it is. I got ripped apart for saying this on 97.3 ESPN this week. I liked the black Cleveland Cavaliers jerseys with the sleeves and the yellow C. Did you like those?
Them shits were hard.
Okay. All right. We're going to bring it up. We're going to bring it up again because we're recording this on, what is it? Is it Thursday morning? You're actually going to be on 97.3 ESPN later today at 3 o'clock. You bet your ass I'm bringing this question up to end the little segment.
Yeah. No. I'm for it, bro. I think those jerseys with the tighter sleeves are like, we're gonna look back on those and like, oh, they were doing something. Like the Warriors ones were nice. The ones that said
love the Warriors ones.
I was like, them shits are hard. If you do them right, if the colors, like, I would love to see the Sixers do those in black. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, yeah, man.
How about blue? How about an AI blue, Jay, transformed into those?
The blue, it's just something about the blue is just a little, it's something about the deeper colors. The darker colors look a little better. So maybe not. I don't know. I remember the Bulls did it back when D-Rose was on there, but those jerseys with the tight sleeves to me are amazing. And that Cavs one with that hard ass, that C logo, like that shit, it looked like something a superhero would.
Ooh, it's so good. Yeah. It's so good. The problem is, well, it'll still show off my guns, but maybe just not as much as the other ones, you know? So we'll end on this because we had a bunch of comments when it came to how do you feel about what Brett Brown said. And I would say a lot of the comments back had something similar to, it's all bullshit coming out of Brett's mouth to save his job so he has an excuse. Come on. I mean, really? Look, as much as I'm frustrated with it, this isn't Brett Brown trying to save his job. He's actually been on the record stating he knows how big this is for him, and he understands that it's almost, you kind of mentioned with the Joel Embiid stuff, it's put up or shut up. I think he understands that as well, and the last thing that he's trying to do is save his job by pretending an injury is more serious than what it is. This is just a standard problem that this organization has had for years, and it's not Brett Brown's fault. It's honestly, it starts up top, real up top. And I'll tell you what, I don't like the team that owns this organization at all, and it starts up there. They're abysmal.
Yeah. It's you can't hide it from them. So if he was trying to quote unquote save his job from them, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh yeah, they're the ones probably telling him what to say.
Exactly, they know, bro. They're in the know. He can't hide that from him. It's just
Yeah, it's reactionary. It's what it is.
Exactly.
It's people who despise Brett Brown, and there's a lot of guys that do. And I actually see, I got some buddies that don't like Brett Brown, but I can have a conversation and explain how I feel about coaching in the NBA, and they get it. They just disagree with me, and that's cool. I can live with that. You don't have to like Brett Brown, but just hear me out. Don't just say the reason why they stink is Brett Brown. No, that's not the case, right? Because a lot of people say Dwayne Casey. The Raptors fired Dwayne Casey, and then they ended up winning a title because of Nick Nurse. Well, no, it's because they got Kawhi Leonard. If coaching mattered that much, Dwayne Casey, the coach of the year, going to the Detroit Pistons would lead more to them being successful. They're not successful. I wonder why. Because their talent's not good. Right? I mean, Popovich, same thing. Very, very, very respected guy in this league. He has no talent. They're not in the playoffs. Wild how coaching works in the NBA. Wild. Yes, I love that. Snaps. We could do that all day. We might just sit here after I hit the stop button, and I just want you to do that as I drink my coffee and get my day going. I'll call you on my way to work. Don't even say anything. Just snap.
God damn it, it's Brodes. Hold on.
Yeah, you're in this big business meeting. God damn it, Brodes. You have to
snap. Everybody snap.
Yeah, you got CEOs of companies. Brodes? It's Brodes. I'm on the big screen there on the projector. Everyone's just snapping. That's how you know it's time to go, fellas. We are way out to lunch. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Processed, and we will see you next time.